Hello and welcome to day 15, the final day of the 2014 Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. I have had a great 2 weeks here in Normandy, and I wish to take this opportunity to offer a personal thank you to all our fabulous guests who have joined us on Chez. We have been graced with so many champions of the equestrian world. This afternoon, we will witness the challenge for the last medals of the Games, the cone stage in the driving, and the final four in the jumping that will have the 22,000 spectators on the edge of their seats. Our first guest on this final show is Fabian Grobon, CEO of the Normandy Organising Committee, to reflect on 2 great weeks of the best possible equestrian sport. In 4 years, the Games go to Canada, to the former Olympic Equestrian Park in Bromont, near Montreal. And in the second half of the programme, we welcome Roger Deslauriers here from Bromont. Also, we will be privileged to be joined by Marina Hands, leading French actress. Fabian, good morning once again. Thank you for coming to see us on perhaps a rather sad and reflective day, the last day of the 2014 Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. Wow. You must have dreamt about this day a long time ago.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
We worked for so long, for years to deliver this. So it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of. We liked it a lot as a team, I think, and myself. And now we're a bit sad already. Mm-hmm. I wish we had another week, but that's it. It's done, and I think we had great time for the sport and for the people that were in the stadiums.
Let's just look back at the first day before sport, by the opening ceremony. That was the greatest opening to an equestrian games or equestrian major championship that anyone's ever seen. Seems like a long time ago now, but that was a tremendous performance, wasn't it? That last hour.
Yeah, myself, I loved it, and I think the crowd loved it. We started working on this, it was maybe 2.5 years ago. It was very high risk to deliver this. We had so many challenges on the way, but very high reward, I think. To me, by benchmark of opening ceremonies was 1992, the Olympics, Winter Olympics in Albertville. That's what I liked most in all the opening ceremony I've seen in France in sporting events. And I think we were maybe not, we don't have the money of the Olympics, but what we delivered, I think, was a benchmark for the next games, next equestrian games at least. Yeah. It was a good start to give the spirit to what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the equestrian sport more accessible, very popular. 565,000 people bought a ticket to come to the games. It's a record-breaking number to cheer for so many federations and athletes and horses that came also to those games. So I think the team is very proud of this.
And one has to say that the sport has been excellent. The equestrian sport here that everyone's witnessed through tremendous amount of television coverage and other media sources has been absolutely brilliant. From your point of view, when you took on the mantle of organising this 4 years ago, talk to me a little bit about the processes that you went through to build your team to come here. And I'd like to come on and talk a little bit about, you must have known there have been some challenges. Were the challenges what you expected, or were there surprises that came to think, oh crikey, I wasn't expecting this,
Well, I don't think you can expect what you will be doing when you get in, because I think the one reason why we succeed in delivering this is because we didn't know it was impossible to do it. And frankly, it's hugest event, but it's also quite simple. It's a vision, and I think we've tried to deliver our vision. It's a planning, and we spend a lot of time on planning, identifying key decisions we had to make. It's a team. And I must say I'm very proud of the 200 people and the 3,000 volunteers that were with us, before and during the games, because it's hard day and night to deliver this once and for the first time. It's a lot more difficult than having a recurring event. And then it's a budget, and all this comes into a budget that you have to look at, and you have to convince partners to contribute to this budget. And in the end, we'll break even. So I think it's important. In France, we say, in equestrian, we say calme, en avant et droit, which is the saying for French equestrian.
Sure.
And I think that's what we did from the start. We knew where we were going, and we delivered this. of course, it's so big that you have many little or bigger things that do not go the way you want to go. But I think the team made a very good job of reacting, of adapting our structure, procedure, whatever, to make it happen for the sport in the end, because that's what we want. We want excellent sport, the public and the party.
You said you'd break even, which is, you know, for a major championship, I would say that's very good. You think?
Yeah, we don't know now for sure, but we still have some money ahead, and
sure.
you know, we'll wrap up everything in the next month. We'll know, but right now
it's looking good.
Looks like it.
Sure. What have been the major issues? What have been your major challenges that you've had to have emergency meetings about and talk about? Have there, you know, what have been?
We've had many issues. You have a big issue every day, you know, and it's always the most difficult one, because you have less time to
sure.
to make it right. I think we were very lucky to be at the heart of equestrian, you know, in the center of Europe, in the cradle of the sport. That made that was important in the decision for many federations to come, media to come. We had a lot more people than expected, so that puts a lot of strain in the system, because the budget is not going to change because you have more people. So that's maybe we had to make decision. Of course, the sport and the competition is always the subject that gets the money. So you know, it's an equilibrium that you make in the decision. That's what that's business is, you know, allocation of resources. But the most important for me is that we had full stadium, and so the people in the stadium were both equestrian fans, but also most of them were people that had never been in an equestrian stadium. So I think we're going to see a lot of things now in the equestrian clubs in France. And I think we probably, from what I heard, we also changed a bit, or we put our stone in the equestrian sport worldwide to be a bigger sport. I think it's time for this sport, you know, to be like soccer, tennis, and other sports. Equestrian sport has a right to be one of the biggest sports in the world. It's so connected to everyone, these stories of man and horses.
Are you able to identify any particular highlights, or is that an unfair question because there's so many good moments? But have there been any particular highlights for you and your family during the 2 weeks?
Well, me and my family, it's another story, but I think I sat with Igmar De Vos, the FEI Secretary General, in the prize-giving ceremony of the vaulting.
Yes.
Vaulting is not always the number one, you know, discipline that you put forward, or compared to show jumping, for example. And I think what we had in the Zenith made vaulting one of the best moments of the games. And we must thank the vaulters, we must thank the team, and I think the people that were in charge of this changed the rules of the game. It's a different sport altogether, and I think it's going to be the way to go for the future. So,
we had a few vaulters over the last 10 days in here talking to us, and they've all been very, very pleased, but they've certainly been excited about the stadium, because it was the most unusual stadium that any of the vaulters had ever actually competed in, being basically a theatre.
And you know, this was a big challenge. Coming back on the question you asked, the vaulting was not supposed to be here. It was supposed to be in the Parc des Expositions.
Sure.
Then we decided to move. Then we learned we wouldn't have the Zenith after all, and then we got it. And then we changed the planning, and then that's the way a big project goes. And in the end, we had the commitment for the riders, the vaulters, because we met them many times, and we, you know, with the French team, we were close, and it was very important for me. When they celebrate the medals afterwards, when they talk to us, you know, what they said is what we work for.
Looking back now, 4 years, is there anything that you'd have done differently? Is there, would you have changed anything if you could do this again?
Many things, you know, many things would have changed, and probably, you know, I don't want to make a list, but we made many mistakes in the process. But I'm not sure we would be able to do it again either. You know, so if you want to start again, yes, maybe you'd make many things better, but you'll make also other mistakes. And there's a lot that relates to meeting people at the right time, having luck sometimes. Things happen, you know, you're checkmate, and the problem is solved the next day. So that's in France we said that's the salt of life, to live this. And and that's it was great, and now it's behind us, and it's time for Canada to make its own FEI World Equestrian Games.
It's got 4 years' time. It goes to Canada. What advice would you give the National Federation over there?
It's very important to have a vision from the start and to stick to it, because so many people will want to change it. So many decisions will maybe make you think you need to change it. But I think what is important is to really have in mind what you want to deliver, your own games, and a few things you don't want to miss. And for us, it was sport, having the competition in the right way, in the excellent way, full stadium. And this village we built, which in itself is the biggest equestrian event in France. You know, if we had not done the game, just the village, it would still have been the biggest equestrian event in France, which was part of the party, which was part of the tool we use to get many people that are not connected to the equestrian competition or excellent, or talking to them through the media of culture. This is equestrian culture. It's something you like. Why don't you also come to the sport, and reciprocally? And it worked very well. 565,000 people. It's never been done anywhere in the world, and maybe it's going to be done in Canada. We'll see.
Do you think you'll be assisting them in Canada? Would they ask you, do you think, to go over there and help them?
We've been talking already, and I would, you know, Canada is a great place to go, so no problem if they need some help. But I think it's also for them to make their own project, and I also have other things to do. So I'm not from the equestrian family from the start. You know, when I came in, I really like the sport, and I made so many friends. So I don't see myself out of it now. I would really like to.
It's a good point, actually, because you and some of your team came from Roland Garros, the famous tennis.
From all events. I mean, from soccer, from car racing, tennis, Olympics, equestrian sport.
Did coming to do an equestrian sport as opposed to those other sports that you've been involved with, you know, were there additional challenges? For example, you've got horses, you've got animals. Yeah. Tennis, you don't have animals. Well, only French people have dogs. But did that throw some additional issues to you that perhaps you were not ready for? Or
yeah, I mean, of course, having a horse is in the system is a big challenge, because you know it almost never sleeps, and you cannot just tell him to
put it in the cupboard,
sit here and wait, or no. That what's make also why you like the job, because it's so different and you learn things, etc. I don't think we should say equestrian sport is that different. You know, it's sport at the highest level, so there's a lot of expectation from the riders. You know, they work live for 1 minute, so of course we need to deliver this. And around this, it's always the same: the media, the sponsor, the public, and big events are big events. And you know, you don't have a horse in tennis, but you have different expectations that are superior in different field of play that you have to deliver. So every sport has its specificities. Equestrian sport, to me, was a discovery and something I will keep for the rest of my life. You know, when I talk to my wife now and say, what will you do next? We say there must be a horse somewhere. Either we own a horse, or we ride, or we work in equestrian sport. It's now part of my life, and I'm sure many people have this connection, of course, that I discovered. It's great sport, and I think it can be higher on television. It can be higher on prize money for riders. It can be higher in the news. Like equestrian riders can be stars. Horses can be stars. So it's maybe we try to contribute a little, and the next one, and the FEI, who's doing a lot on that, will go further. So I think it's just the beginning of the growth of the sport, and maybe, you know, in 10 years' time, if some people say, well, we started this in Normandy, it was the first time we did this, remember, that would have been a success for us.
You actually got, I think, you've got children, but 2 of them ride, don't they? I think.
All of them ride.
All of them ride. All your children ride.
We try to play polo together when they don't hit me with the horse. Yeah, one of them is also a horseball rider. My daughter rides show jumping, etc. So they've been loving to come to Normandy to do this.
Well, we've got the driving to be completed today, the medals for the driving, and of course we've got the final 4 in the jumping. Yesterday, Patrice Delaveau I don't think I've ever heard 22,000 people shout quite as loud as I heard yesterday. It was quite a moment, wasn't it, when you won that class?
Again, for us, for the team, for everyone who worked here, for the people of Normandy, having Patrice in the Final Four is it's not just equestrian sport. He was born here. His family is an old breeder family from Normandy. You know, you write it from the start and you say what would be the most important thing you would like to have during the fortnight. You would say, I would like to have Patrice Delaveau in the Final Four in the Dornano Stadium with some sun and a cheering crowd, which is what we have this afternoon.
Incredible.
And we just, it's the time for us to enjoy.
Great. Well, thank you for coming to join us. It's been an extraordinary 2 weeks of sport, the top equestrian sport anyone could ever really wish for. And I wish you all the very best for the next 24 hours to get the games finished.
And next month, because
you've got to clear up everything. Yeah. Thank you, Fabian. Yesterday, Sienna discussed the format of the Final Four with our commentator, Steve Hadley.
I'm here in the main arena, and coming up later is the Final Four. I'm so excited about this competition, but I don't really know what's going on, so I need to go find out. Ah, I've spotted Steve Hadley. Now, he is the perfect person to ask. Steve, hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very well. I'm a bit confused, though. Can you tell me what's going to happen in the Final Four?
Tomorrow, yeah. I mean, there's only 4 from the last competition here, and it'll be a considerably smaller course than this. Well, 10 centimetres smaller, 150 all the way around, 4'11", which is plenty big enough on a strange horse, because they jump the course first of all on their own horse, all 4 go before they qualify, and then after that they swap horses and they ride each other's horses, and one rider rides all 4 horses, and so on. All the scores count, all the scores added together. The one with the least fences down wins the World Championship.
Last minute preparations going on here. Excusez-moi. Look at the amount of press this attracts. They're interviewing the course designer. These fences are massive. I have to stand on my tiptoes to see the second bar. Unbelievable. Pedro! You just never disappoint. These are so cool.
Thank you. I mean, and it's so nice. It's so nice to see you. Where are you?
And you've got your wings as well.
Yes, I need wings today, and I need a clear view of all the riders. It's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's going to be a great end to the games. I'm so excited. I bet you are too. So thank you.
Can't wait, Sienna, really, because this is the big one. The team competition on Thursday was brilliant. Rest day yesterday. This is the one that it's all about.
Wow, that is going to be exciting. Thank you, Sienna. Well, good morning. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Chez this morning. Marina, it's very nice to see you, very nice to meet you. Roger, you're here because I think it's your 4th FEI World Equestrian Games, but of course the big thing for you is that in 4 years' time, we're coming to your home for the Games.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about, first of all, about your experience in Normandy, and also how excited you are to have the Games coming to Bromont.
Yes, for me it's kind of a dream to which I start this processes about 10 years ago, and I'm lucky. I have 2 sons who are really good, quite good in the sport. One did the World Cup, as you know, in '84, and for me it was a goal of a life to be able to make this lovely event, which is the WEG. I certainly see some other event like Chez, Aachen, and Lexington, but this one to me is a good one, because at the beginning we didn't know when it's going to happen for us to be host of the WEG. First of all, we were planning to do in 2014, but we knew time go fast and we were not able to make it happen. So 2018 was all right, but at the end of the day, you have to make all the processes through FEI and so on and so forth. So for me here, because the FEI organized a total visit with the new organizer. Every day we were booked to go see all the venue and the inside out of the sport, every detail, behind the scene, in front of the scene. So it was fantastic for us.
And of course, we should say that you had the Olympic Games there in 1974. So you've done a lot of groundwork. You know
yes, for sure, because actually the game was in 76.
Sorry, 76.
And we were allocated the game only 18th of May 74, and nothing was built. So we had to go fast and learn fast and everything. It was quite an experience, but we make it, and it did happen, and I think it was a good game. So I'm very happy to be through this processes at that time, and now we're a little bit more comfortable. But even it's 8 discipline versus 3 at that time, so it's much more bigger happening. And what is going to be a little bit more easier for us, because everything is on the same site.
Sure.
You know.
Absolutely.
So, and since '82, we organize international event on the site year after year, driving, jumping, dressage, and eventing. So we are a little bit aware of what's going to happen, even if we are big things.
Marina, it's very kind of you to take some time out of your schedule to be here. Now, of course, the world know you as an actress. I don't know that the world knows that, in fact, your passion is horses. Tell us about your career in horses. You're still riding now.
Yes, I'm back on horses now, since I did a film about a very famous horse, Japlou. That was 3 years ago that we shot the film and came out last year. And since then I thought I can never give up again. But I gave up, you know, after the young riders. I was in the French team doing show jumping, and I had to, you know, to be a professional in something, and obviously I wouldn't be a professional as a horse rider. Okay. So I needed to find a proper job for me. And now it's brought me back to horse riding. So, and it was my first passion. It was something I wanted to do since I was very, very little. So
let's just talk about Japlou for a minute, because obviously it must, as you said just before we started filming, that it was a dream for you to do that. But you played Pierre Durand's wife in the film. So that must have been just, I mean, obviously Japlou was a legend. That must have been fantastic.
It was incredible. I mean, my best friend Guillaume Canet wrote the script and called me, and he's also, we met when we were juniors as well, so he was writing as well, and he said, you won't believe this, we're making a film about Japlou. And I said, no, you can't say that to me, I have to be in the film. And he said, of course you're going to be in the film, we're all going to be in the film. Anybody involved in this film has to be passionate about horses. It's, you know, maybe we won't have another film about this particular passion, so we all wanted to be in it, and so we went into this shoot with so much joy, and of course I didn't know Pierre Durand, you know, personally, but I had posters of him in my room.
Amazing.
And so we made it with really passion, you know, and heart.
Do you, when you come to a competition at this level, and you know, I guess it was your dream as a child to perhaps be riding at this level, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What feelings do you have watching the likes of, well, all the French stars, Kevin Stout, Patrice Delaveau, of course, and Penelope?
Well, that's why I say all the time, they're my stars.
Yes.
Really, above, you know, anybody else.
Yes.
They're riders, competitors, champions were my stars since I was 4. So they still are, you know, above actors and artists. For me, it's what, I mean, it brings me tears really watching those shows, you know, it's incredible. I don't think about myself or being bitter about not, you know, being able to be there anymore at all. That was when I was 19, but now I'm just enjoying to be a part of it again, to know them, to, you know, because I've known them for a long time. And so it's really, and be there, be supportive for them and talk about them whenever the medias are not, you know, national TV in France is always football and tennis.
Yeah,
and
same everywhere in the world.
Yeah. And I said, well, no, here is, you know, interesting stuff happening there.
You were 19, you were saying, when you were riding. I think we ought to just come back, Roger, to your son Mario, because although you briefly mentioned it earlier, the Mario Deslauriers, people will remember, at the age of 19, won the FEI World Cup final in Gothenburg in 1984. My guess is that was a big, very proud moment for you, was it?
Actually, you know, we knew we have the good horse, but there's a long story before that. A good friend of mine, which is Mr. Laurent Baudouin, owner of Bombardier, he told me one day, he said, Roger, if you find a horse, let me know. I'll be on board. I'll be there. So we find that nice horse, Aramis.
Yes.
He was a 4-year-old in 1982. And our goal was to go to the Olympic. Well, I said to him, I said, listen, a 4-year-old horse, go to the Olympic with the young kids, young rider, it's a long shot. So we said, we went to see some horses, and he fell in love with that horse. So we bought the horse, we trained the horse, and it happened. It's kind of a story.
It's a wonderful story.
Yeah, we can make a film about that.
Oh,
one.
yes. And talking about film, I think Christian Duguay was involved with that.
Yes, oh, he was the director.
He's a Montreal guy.
Yes, and he was a rider in the juniors as well.
I teach him.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, his father had a horse at my place.
Wow.
Gilles Duguay, the father.
Yes.
Yeah, I know Christian very well.
How funny.
It's funny.
Did you ride much in the film? I haven't seen Chapeau, but...
And I have a small moment. I have to do a couple of fences. So I had to train again for that.
Roger, we talked about 4 years' time. The whole world will be looking at you in 4 years. I guess there's an awful lot to do. The next 4 years is going to go like that. But you at the moment, already we discussed a lot this morning, but you sound very prepared. What are the challenges you're expecting to get?
We're prepared, but we're never ready, you know, as you know, in organizing things like that. But we start tomorrow, you know. We get back home tomorrow, and this fall we start the first building. The footing men arriving the 15th September. Start up where we need some more training area and stuff like that. We start tomorrow because 4 years tomorrow also.
Yeah. Marina, let's just talk about another role that you're here, because you're not just here for your own fun to support the riders. You're here as an ambassador of Just World. That means a lot to you. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in Just World.
Well, Just World. The founder of Just World was my best friend when I was 8.
Oh, okay.
Jessica Newman.
Yes.
And she had been competing with me for the US, of course, in the juniors and young riders as well, and we've known each other for a long time. And then everybody walked separate paths, and then she called me once, and I wasn't back to horse riding again, and she said, you know, this is what I do now, and told me about it. And I thought, you know, I've known her for such a long time, and that she did that was to me so serious and passionate, because you know, we all talk about charity and things we can do for others, and you know, I knew I could trust her and this particular organization, that it would be wonderful. And she said, well, you know, she was in the equestrian world, and she wanted to open a little bit, you know, in other worlds. And she said, you're an actress now, so could you do something? And I said, yes, but listen, I'm an actress and I'm going to be a rider too, so I can do what you want. So Just World is really about, you know, when you feel privileged in your life and passionate about what you're doing, there's a way of looking to other people, other countries, and try and fix what is not fair. And so it's for the kids who grow in extreme poverty. It's to provide health, education, food, and joy, really. So it's the approach of Just World is about joy and happiness. It's not about saying, look at you, you're so privileged, and here, you know, there. So it's not about that. It's about committing and wanting to give, you know. It's not forcing anybody. That's why I like it particularly.
Sure. And the equestrian world, and I know has got right behind Just World, which is, so it adds another aspect to it, doesn't it, from the animal point of view and getting involved with horses and things. That's very valuable.
Yes, especially in the professional world, because you tend to talk about competition much more than the feeling and the horse and everything at a certain point. It's not that it doesn't exist, it's just that we don't talk about it anymore. So it also brings, you know, this particular sensitive relationship with the animal world to light again, you know, in the light, and animals, children, you know, something very down to earth and, you know, what life is about really. And so it's a very simple way to talk about simple things again.
Roger, horses, I think it's probably important for viewers to realise, I know we've mentioned about Mario, your son, and your other son rides as well, but in addition to being the host of the 2018 FEI World Equestrian Games, you've been a horseman all your life. In fact, you travelled the world to train people. So you are very much a practical horseman. Is that going to help you? That might sound a funny question, but I know you want business people around you to run the games, but being a horseman, it must be a great benefit to you.
For sure, we've been in horses all our life, and my son are the 5th generation in horses. For sure it helped, but we need more than that to organize World Equestrian Games. So I like to be surrounded with good people, and those things you can't do it alone. But bring the horse sense into this organization, it's helped, because I know what rider needs, what owners needs, and what visitors needs, and what sponsor needs. Without all of them, it's impossible.
Yeah, and exactly, and you have to have a very high level of understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've been around enough to know that, so we hope we'll put it in practice.
And of course, you were a 3-day eventer in your day.
I used to ride 3-day events until the pre-Olympic Games in Bromont. And then, well, I had to stop and maybe train full-time for a year. And then at that time, I had 2 kids and everything. So I decided to be part of the organization of the Olympic Game. And then I started in the jumper world.
And of course, you've got the site at Bromont's 500 acres with beautiful lakes and grounds.
Exactly.
You can ride all around there. It's
fantastic. We have a lot of people around, and we hunt all falls, and we ride, and we give clinic and all that. So
perfect. Our
life is around horses.
Well, we're looking forward to Bromont in 4 years' time. Marina, what does the next... Are you staying for the jumping tonight?
Yes, of course.
Something tells me that if the local hero, of course I didn't know until today that Patrice Delaveau came from Normandy.
Yes.
It was pretty loud in there last night when he won that class. They could go mad in there tonight.
Yes, they could. I wish they would. I wish they will. Everybody will go mad. You know, it's the one-time occasion, one-life occasion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you both very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a lovely afternoon. It's going to be a fabulous culmination to a great 2 weeks of sport. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And good luck, Roger, next year.
Thank you.
Let's now get our final social media update from Sienna.
On social media, FEI's Instagram page has posted a very impressive photo of Joanne Eccles, who went on to win the vaulting competition. Also, a photo of the huge crowd at the driving is up, with the caption, "Driving Marathon is a huge success, #WEG2014. Over on Twitter, it appears everyone is getting very excited about the final phase of the jumping today. FEI have retweeted this tweet from Calvadado. Just a few hours before the Final Four. Can't wait. There's also a lovely photo attached of the Final Four competitors and their horses, who will be battling it out for gold later on this afternoon. Well, this brings me to the end of my social media updates from the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games 2014. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you next time.
Sienna, come and join us.
Hi Phil, lovely to be here again.
Well, tell me, have you had a great 2 weeks?
Oh, I've had a fantastic 2 weeks. It's been a real whirlwind. We've had ups and downs, and I've loved every second of it. I really have.
It has been great competition, great people, and just wonderful horses, isn't it?
Completely agree, completely agree.
Well, sadly, it's now time to pack up and go home.
I'm really quite sad. Thank you for watching, everyone.
And a very warm thank you and goodbye from all of us on Chez. Bonne chance.